Well, a group of volunteers and a nonprofit organization have teamed up to save a historic structure in Bladensburg. Byron Scott has our story.
Tucked away in the town of Bladensburg is an example of 16th century Americana. It is called the Bostwick House.
The area you think about back in 1740 when, they were thinking about putting D.C. together and DuPont was going to put D.C. together and all. This is a really significant property.
Mike Logan is with HistoriCorps, a nonprofit organization that restores historic structures across the country. This week they began the work of restoring the front porch and its roof to the way it looked when it was last rebuilt in 1910.
What we're doing is the porch. The columns are in disrepair. The floor, some of the elements on the outside are in disrepair. The railings are in disrepair. The top.
First, all of the wood must be taken apart, then sanded, and eventually repainted.
We've ordered a new column from Pennsylvania for the corner over here.
Logan says the work is executed with great care.
Well, we're working with the Maryland Historic Trust. It's an easement property, a National Historic Landmark. There's a lot of guidelines, historic preservation guidelines to follow, like the Secretary of Interior Standards for Historic Preservation. Yes, you just can't use off-the-shelf lumber from big box stores and all. You need dense, old hardwood, replacement parts. Yeah, it's always a challenge, but they're always around.
The house sits atop a small hill and just a few blocks from Bladensburg Waterfront Park. The original plot was more than 70 acres. The house is still in use by the University of Maryland. Many of the rooms appear as if they are set in time.
I first got here Friday.
Anne-Marie Balfe is the crew leader.
Biggest challenge is probably the weather and just making sure you're taking your time and not rushing through things, because if you rush a job with preservation, you're more likely to mess something up.
According to this plaque, Bostwick was built in 1746 by Christopher Lowndes. Now, according to this plaque, he was a major importer in Maryland of slaves, many of whom worked on and built the house. HistoriCorps says the Bostwick House is one of 4 pre-revolutionary houses still standing in Bladensburg. Several years ago, town officials warned that the viability of the structure could be threatened unless repairs were made. This is the first phase.
The project runs through the 1st of November.
Byron Scott, CTV News.
And after its original owner died, the property was bought by Benjamin Stoddard, the first Secretary of the Navy.